Go on.
Welcome back. It's time for some answers. Please tell me we get answers. I want the answers. Where is the Sweet Fish River? Where does it lead to?
What is this?
What is his hometown? Tell me where the gold is. These are the things I want to know.
Remember, people figured this stuff out without the answer arcs.
Oh! Look. My goal is to try to stay awake.
How'd that go last night?
Oh,
You had like 2 minutes left. You fell asleep.
Yeah. Natsuhi. Hello, Natsuhi. Natsuhi. It seems we've managed to make it through the first day.
Natsuhi could be seen in the study. When she muttered as though to herself, gold butterflies appeared and formed the shape of a person.
We mustn't let our guards down. I can't imagine we'll last through tomorrow if we simply sit around here. So, as I suspected, simply saying father's in a bad mood and refuses to come out won't be enough to deceive them completely. Indeed. It seems last year left them quite suspicious. Because of that, the toxin has expanded and is coiling itself around this study, growing ever tighter.
I imagine it goes beyond mere suspicions raised last year.
That's right. The toxin has grown too thick to be explained away by that alone. Someone must have suspected Kindle-summer's death since last year, and is strongly intent on exposing that secret at this year's family conference. Does that mean we didn't have them fully deceived even a full year ago? I feel like they've had this conversation before.
Maybe. Can't remember.
Unfortunately, it's probably best to assume that, given our current situation. The typhoon will remain here tomorrow, and the boat will not come for them until the day after. In short, we must endure for another 36 hours at the very least.
It may not be visible to your eyes, Natsuhi, but the closed room barrier sealing this room was once very firm. Tonight, however, it has been worn down almost to the point of crumbling, like dry leaves awaiting a windstorm. No, the storm is already here. Natsuhi-sama, I propose that we switch from this closed room barrier to something else. What do you mean by that? Are you suggesting we change our plan? That is correct. Dang it.
I think that's
Ronobe?
probably Ronobe.
That is correct. Virgilia-sama and I will reconstruct a barrier similar to last year's.
Who do you think? Virgilia's Kumasawa? Persona thingy? Whatever.
Yeah, and Ronobe is Genji.
In other words,
Who's talking right
I don't know. It's probably Mr.
In other words, we'll take Kinzo out of the study and have him tightrope walk from shadow to shadow where the toxin can't reach, just like last year. It may be dangerous, but I would like to second her proposal.
Is this a joke? Do you truly intend to change the plan this far in? When one realizes that they cannot withstand a siege, they must consider the option of abandoning the castle.
Right now, this room is like a castle surrounded by enemy troops, with its walls about to crumble. If staying put means certain death, then you also have the option of riding out for one last stand in an honorable defeat. After all, surrender doesn't seem to be an option in this fight.
I'll protect Father's secret until the very end! If it's discovered, we'll have no chance to talk our way out of it. My husband's embezzlement will be exposed to the light of day, and the Ushirimiya family's honor will be destroyed. We must never,
My scroll is
never,
stuck.
never,
Oh my, it's stuck.
never. Oh no, not never. We must remain firm and prevent that no matter what happens.
My wheel got so stuck right there. I needed to clean that thing.
Aren't you using your controller?
Oh, I don't know how to scroll up on that.
Where is your controller?
Down here.
Oh. Calm down, I understand you. Kraus's alchemy will soon yield great results. If we can just make it through this year, we'll manage. So don't get flustered. But we use this strategy precisely because we wouldn't be able to pull off the same trick as last year, right? Isn't it the height of stupidity to return to a plan you previously abandoned because it was impossible? Just what sort of plan could we hope to make at this point? Runaway and I will prepare one. Leave it to us, for creating illusions is what witches do. All you have to do is give us your permission, Natsuki-sama. Teacher and Runaway are quite reliable at times such as these, and the servants of the One-Winged Eagle are top-notch furniture. Once Teacher and Runaway reveal the magic we need, I imagine the servants will work hard to protect it. It still isn't too late. Let's take Kinzo out of the study and make that illusion walk around. Did you forget we chose our current strategy because we considered plans like that and couldn't find anything that would work? It would be the height of foolishness to get flustered in an emergency and carelessly throw away our primary plan. But Natsuki-sama, as you stand there amidst the toxin, you must realize better than anyone else that we will no longer be able to outlast this siege. I propose that we try and think of another plan without changing our objective of holding the fort. In any event, as long as we keep this room sealed, no one will be able to deny his father's existence. After all, one cannot determine the contents of a cat box that no number of people could ever hope to open. Well, that may be true. But humans are capable of defying reason. It's possible for them to eat into an airtight cat box and go inside, like black ants closing in on a box of cake. Lady Berncastle's piece also worries me.
It was fortunate that Erika-sama stole the show at tonight's dinner. By doing that, she created an atmosphere in which it was possible to close down the family conference for the night. If you all had returned directly to the family conference as usual, the barrier might have been broken tonight.
However, it also made the toxin grow even thicker. After it thickens all night, it might manage to penetrate the closed room barrier with ease. Whether we continue to hold down the fort or not, we will not make it through tomorrow unless we prepare a new strategy and a new barrier. Lady Berncastle may have some plan for breaking the closed room barrier. We can't take that piece called Erika lightly.
Come to think of it, that man who mentioned taking revenge for the events of 19 years ago might also be a piece of Lady Berncastel's. This board achieved equilibrium with 18 pieces, but now it has had 2 undesired pieces added to it. There are too many irregularities this year.
Lady Berncastle is a fan of Eastern things. In shogi or Japanese chess, aren't you allowed to drop pieces in during a game? Yes, that is possible. Even the act of dropping a queen from the captured pile right in front of the enemy king is an allowable trump card in shogi. Oh, I wonder what that man who claimed to have a connection from 19 years ago is doing now. What? 19 years ago, as in? What happened 19 years ago?
Remember, that's the guy on the phone.
Yeah, who said he was her son, right?
Yeah, and you said, I think it's just implying his age. He was born 19 years ago or something.
But she's saying a connection from 19 years ago. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into
I didn't know birth wasn't a connection.
Well, wouldn't you know if you gave birth to a child?
Well, that's the thing. She's like denying that, so who knows?
I wonder what the man who claimed to have connection from 19 years ago is doing now. Is he already hiding somewhere on this island? That girl called Erica was able to appear by claiming to have drifted here. That man might also have landed somewhere on this island despite the typhoon, and he may be hiding somewhere now. And it's going to be hard to fully deceive the relatives any longer. Why? Why have so many irregular things happened at the same time? How can you explain this nightmarish miracle of coincidence?
Natsuhi slammed the desk hard, held her head, and cringed at the pain from her overwhelming headache.
Lady Berncastle controls miracles. There's no point being surprised at irregularities or miracles when she's around.
While shogi is a game in which an enemy piece might suddenly appear in front of a king, for that very reason, you build up a perfect formation that won't allow for such a weakness, artistically constructing a castle around your king.
In that case, isn't holding the fort exactly what we should be doing now?
Perhaps, if we had a fort we could hold, but we cannot hope for such a thing now.
It's difficult to corner a king with no wall to his back, and even more difficult to corner one with open spaces in all directions. Think of a mouse. You can catch a mouse that's shut in a cage. However, catching a mouse in a field is like trying to catch a cloud. Natsuki-sama, please allow us to consider this option. Kinzo-sama will leave his study and wander around the mansion on the whim, avoiding the gazes of the relatives. We will think of a natural-seeming plan for this by morning. Don't you see the danger? If we're willing to consider such a dangerous option, wouldn't it be better to continue acting as though father's in his room in a bad mood? Is it Virgilia?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, the relatives will crowd around the study once again. They'll be right on the other side of that single door. When that happens, just how long do you intend to make it seem like they're having a yelling match with Kinzo-sama? It's impossible. And we must find some way to postpone that impossibility for 36 hours! If you tell me to do it, I will! I am Ushiromiya Natsuhi, the wife of the Ushiromiya family head. If you tell me to do that, I will act a shouting match with father for as many days as it takes. Ah!
Even Natsuhi realized that she could never manage it, but she no longer saw any chance of victory from a plan that involved an illusion of Kinzo walking around. Banging on the desk several times with tears of rage streaming down her face, Natsuhi alternated between groaning from her headache and placing the blame on one thing or another. It made one feel that there must be some curse that made anyone who sat in that chair act that way.
This is like a game of mating shogi, where you are on the defensive. In mating shogi, the opponent has no king, and you have no way of winning other than avoiding a checkmate for a predetermined number of moves.
And to think that I must escape for a whole day and a half worth moves. And a half's worth of moves is just too many. Don't stop thinking, don't give up. I'll listen to your complaints, so don't have a fit. Your unshaking will to overcome this trial will bring you success with certainty. That's the power of the Witch of Certainty for you. You must not lose that magical power. Believe that you will overcome this no matter what. I'm sure you'll think of a brilliant plan. Therefore, you mustn't give up and you mustn't stop thinking. You're right. I understand. Only I can overcome this hardship. That is correct. Didn't Kinzo entrust you with the job of overcoming these challenges? Kinzo acknowledged that you were worthy of that responsibility. Oh, Father! 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 Teacher and Ronove will think of a move. Of course, I will think as well. However, even that we cannot do without permission from our master, from you. So at the very least, don't abandon your will to fight. Don't give up. I understand, but I'm already all tired out. I'm not surprised with the carrying on she's doing, and I can't stand this headache. Why is it that I'm crying here, all alone in this frigid study? Why isn't my husband here for me now?
Back when dinner ended, Kraus claimed to be dizzy and went to bed early. Of course, he had done this to get enough rest to ready himself for the long day ahead. But to Natsuki, right now, it felt as though he'd just gone straight to sleep and pushed the entire burden onto her. However, complaining about such a thing would mean her failure as a wife. Isn't it a good wife's duty to work hard and put family first, even when her husband is resting? Filled with regret, even at her anger towards her husband, unable to determine at whom she should be angry, Natsuki continued to sob. If only Kinzo could just speak to her kindly at times like this. Yato searched for him, but Kinzo had been nowhere to be seen in the study for some time now. Perhaps Natsuki had noticed this as well. Though she bragged that fighting alone and supporting from behind was the responsibility of a good wife, without anyone to tell her that this really was necessary, she was now so frail that she couldn't even stop her own tears. Just as Beato was trying to think of words to console Natsuki, Vigilia tapped her lightly on the shoulder. Sometimes, when words of consolation don't come from the mouth of the right person, they can do more harm than good. So, Vigilia silently told Beato that remaining silent was the best course of action for now. Accent.
No, I know. I'm trying to... My brain's going blank. Oh.
Hi. Sorry to interrupt.
Hi, sorry to interrupt. I know I'm an outsider, but I wonder if you'd let me speak. Garb, please restrain yourself for the time being.
No, in this room there's no distinction between outsiders, guests, and the rest of us. You may speak.
Thank you. Ronove said it himself a while ago. This is mating shogi with you on the defensive. How do you lose in mating shogi? It's when your king is checkmated, right?
That goes without saying. And the opponent has no king. Therefore, all Natsuki can do is have her king run away constantly.
I see. So you're thinking of that move. Has that time already come?
What do you mean? Do you mean there's some sort of move remaining to us?
It's what you proposed in the very beginning about how to hide Goldsmith's death. I'm trying to say the time's come for us to use that.
You mean having him go missing? You mean to make that move right now during the family conference? That's too dangerous.
Once they'd successfully resolved all of their problems, they would have to lay Kinzo to rest. And the best way to do that was to make him disappear. One day, Kinzo would go out into the forest and never return. They wouldn't be able to find him no matter how much they searched, so he would be declared missing.
You said it yourself a second ago, Vici. You can't catch a mouse that's escaped into a field, and you can't catch a goldsmith who's disappeared into the forest. You plan for us to talk our way out of this like that? To use such a move now, when the suspicion against us is greatest, would be no better than committing suicide.
Oh, they would probably suspect it. Such a move would most certainly lead to mistrust. However, even if they were to set foot in this study, they would find nothing to aid them. it would never again be possible for them to keep Kinzo-sama pinned down, and no matter how much they suspected his death, they would be unable to prove it.
Forget about a mere 36 hours. You'd be able to protect Kinzo's secret forever that way, right? Of course, we'll also have to bear an appropriate risk.
If you make that move, you may be able to overcome this particular challenge, but we cannot even guess at how much prestige you might lose for it.
Even so, it's a move that will most certainly overcome our current challenge. Of course, you'll then have to face an even greater suspicion, but you won't die.
Yes, that may be so, but I can't read back that far.
But I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm a psychic.
Who would be speaking now?
Scarf.
Is it Scarf? During the Great Kanto earthquake, the Ushirimiya family should have died. However, the mad genius goldsmith revived it so splendidly that it's now something you desire to protect. So this time it is up to you and your husband, the new head, and his wife to do the same.
Oh, is that how you intend to stir her up?
I'm not stirring her up. I'm just asking if she's prepared to be the wife of the head. Are you prepared to protect the Ushirimiya family even if you end up getting dragged through the dirt to do it?
I am prepared.
Then now is the time. If you can survive by being dragged through the dirt, then crawl with all your might. You'll inch your way through this world of suffering and eventually you'll restore that glory. I, Garp, the 33rd in rank, promise you this.
Garp.
The fact that I came to play at a time like this must be a sign from the gods of happenstance. I'll keep this promise, Ushirimiya Natsuhi. I require nothing in return. Riche, the one who serves you, has already paid me plenty in advance.
Garp may have seemed irresponsible, but she actually possessed a strong sense of duty. She was the kind of person who just couldn't leave someone in trouble alone.
Payment in advance? Oh, when did I do that? I have no memory of such a thing.
I just mean those magical items you couldn't remember where you put. I made off with quite a few of them.
What? So that was your doing after all? Give them back. Give back my illusionary silver crystal and moonstick. I still haven't played around by sticking them together yet.
That's the sort of magic and strategy you can expect from me. I can hide Goldsmith away in a world where no one else will be able to find him. Let me know the instant you need that magic. Until then, feel free to think of another safer plan.
True, true. Having alternatives is beneficial for your peace of mind. And without that, you'll never think up a brilliant plan.
Natsuhi-sama, we have quite some time remaining us tonight. Let's leave Garp's strategy and final trump card and iron out a plan of our own for now. Please give us permission. And please give us the trust, magical power, and absolute conviction we'll need to succeed without fail.
If you have faith, I will make your dreams come true. If you succumb to doubt, then I will make those nightmares come true. You must build your own future.
Kinzo would disappear, and right in the middle of this family conference. Such a move truly would be a last resort. Burying this final trump card in her heart, Natsuhi decided that she would grope around for a different plan until the last second. After all, this long, long night has only just begun. Burned Castell and her piece had just as long to prepare as Natsuhi did.
And does that plan include murder?
Natsuhi's plan. Too many people find out she did the 70s style with some stakes.
Looks like Battle's doing that right now.
It does.
Gouge the foot and kill. And that completes it. I see, so that really was what gouge meant. Once again, my reasoning was correct.
The feel of it this time was clearly different from the previous times, as though some sort of device had activated. However, as far as a quick glance could tell, there was no dramatic change, such as an entrance or some sort of opening. Apparently, they would need to do just a little more before they could find it. You're incredible. If we really do find the gold, we'll have to split it together.
Enjoying the intellectual stimulation is enough for me. The only thing I like is solving riddles. The only reward I need is proof that I was right.
She shrugged it off, implying that just seeing the gold would be enough. Then she crouched down, peering fixedly at the lock mechanism.
Wait, lock mechanism? What?
It's definitely no mistake to say that this girl really loves solving riddles.
They're not going to tell us, they're just going to show us? They're just going to end up in the gold room and we're not going to know?
They gave you the hints.
No, I do not want hints, I wanted answers!
Hint answers?
Answers!
For her, treasure hunting is all about the delicious process of exposing secrets. So she has no interest whatsoever in getting the treasure for herself and becoming a billionaire.
I see. Pretty cocky of you, setting up a device like this. The mistake you all made was letting me on this island in the first place. Simply by the existence of the epitaph in that place. This level of reasoning is possible for Frudoerica. What do you think, everyone?
As she said this to the now exposed contraption, she grinned. Her smile was triumphant, but it was more fully characterized by the small bit of unpleasant disdain contained within. After solving the riddle, she was probably reveling in the pleasure of having won against the one who had proposed it, and she enjoyed her ability to scoff at this person now.
If we find the gold now, the successor won't be Kraus' son, but you.
Well, I wonder.
Isn't Kraus' son kind of arrogant? You might even call him a braggart. It'll be pretty amusing to see him lose both the gold and his position as the successor to his nephew in the course of a single night, won't it?
Erica was still crouched down as she spoke, her back to Battler as she toyed around with the device.
Jessica's son was her name, right? The girl who talked back to me?
Yeah.
She really was acting big about her father being the successor. When she wakes up tomorrow and learns that you've inherited all the gold, and that her father's no longer the successor, I wonder what kind of expression she'll have on her face.
I've got no intention of keeping that 20 billion to myself. Well, if I got even 10%, that'd be as much as I could handle. We can split the rest fairly amongst the family. I'm even less interested in being the successor. I'd be glad to let Uncle Kraus deal with that.
Will you really be able to settle things that easily in the end? Well, rather than trying to make guesses about that, I imagine it'd be more fun to guess the expression Jessica wears tomorrow, and what kind of sad excuses she'll try to make.
You really do have a nasty personality.
Oh? Couldn't you reason that out from the time you learned that I liked solving riddles? I'm an intellectual rapist who enjoys exposing things people try to hide, get it?
Goodness. Such weird imagery.
The same thing goes for solving the epitaph's riddle.
I'll bet you wanted to expose the gold grandfather worked so hard to hide.
Yes, that was my goal at first, but it changed partway through.
Partway through? Changed to what?
I mean Jessica's son. She butted in on my reasoning, contaminating that pure and noble time. Ever since then, I've been trying to solve the epitaph so I could teach that Jessica a lesson.
Are you serious?
I
can't giggle.
I'll make all opponents surrender, no matter who they are. That is my sole pleasure. Do you still need me to reason it out for you? Ushiromiya Jessica irritated me. That's why I wanted to put her in her place and decided to solve the epitaph. That's what led to the emotions I hold now. Can you reason out what those emotions are?
This turn, I turned my back on her in earnest. Did I get a bit too excited by this riddle-solving game, letting her drive me on, and do something terrible? That's right. It should have been possible to reason this out. If the riddle is solved, the relatives will probably freak out about who the successor should be. Dad and some others will probably push for me, the discoverer, to be the successor, and some relatives not thrilled with that prospect will probably oppose them. Despite how adamantly Erika affirmed it, it isn't written anywhere that the one who solves the riddle of the epitaph becomes the successor. Because of this, it'll lead to a fight between those who acknowledge that the theory and those who don't. If I reason out what'll happen next, as Erika did, it'd probably lead to a messy fight between Uncle Kraus and the rest of the relatives. Now that I've solved the riddle, will Jessica admire me or curse me? I don't want to think about that now. Erika was still mumbling. Apparently, she had already started trying to reason it out. As I began to feel very bad, I vaguely gazed out into the black night. At that time, I looked at a dim outdoor light and saw the silhouette of a person in front of it. I thought I must be seeing things. After all, it was unthinkable that someone could have been standing there this whole time, pounded upon by the rain without even an umbrella. However, the silhouette didn't move an inch, and maybe... No, it couldn't be. It was looking at me. And it was...
Kinzo?
Grandfather. At that moment, I understood. Grandfather's probably been watching us solve the riddle this whole time. And he watched as we spectacularly solved the whole thing. Without a doubt, there was a faint smile on Grandfather's face. Grandfather, who had never worn anything except moody and frightening expressions, looked me in the eye and smiled at me for the first time. Almost as though he was saying, "How impudent!" Or else, "I never thought it would be you." However, this is still the result that Grandfather's epitaph chose, so I'm sure he accepted that result. In the end, he grinned one more time. Of course, he didn't use words. His smile seemed to be wordlessly saying, "Well done." I didn't know how I should respond. I couldn't do anything but stand there in shock. Ignoring Erika as she crouched down, mumbling with her back towards me. Then, Grandfather stretched out a hand out from the folds of his cloak and pointed at something. When I looked in that direction, the thing he was pointing at was probably the signpost to the Golden Land. Go. I'm sure Grandfather said that one word. I nodded to show that I understood. After watching that, Grandfather nodded back, satisfied. Then with a spin of his cloak, he disappeared, seeming to melt into the darkness. The expression on his face at the end was a smile that was, for the first time, truly satisfied.
Are you listening, Battler-san? Did you hear my reasoning?
I found it. That's the signpost to the Golden Land.
Huh? Ah, it's facing a different direction than it used to. I see. So it means go that way. You've got some pretty good powers of observation.
Grandfather told me about it.
Huh? Kinzo-san? Where is he?
I'm going. Let's have a look at what you're showing us. Just what is this Golden Land? We started to walk. The entrance to the Golden Land was right there. So, my epitaph has finally been solved. And it was Battler who did it. Wonderful. Couldn't be better. When I think about it, I was also ahead that no one saw coming. How amusing that the one to succeed me is just as surprising. I have no more regrets in life. Beatrice, I am coming to join you, along with a present, the miracle chosen by my epitaph. Battler of all people. That battler. At the very, very end of my life,
I have seen a true miracle. Beatrice! I've won this bet!
What was their bet? That someone could solve the epitaph?
I don't know, you'd have to ask him.
I thought they talked about it.
I don't know, did they? So we're back in this underground area.
Yahoo!
Oh man, gold.
Except for its non-corrosive properties, there's no practical way to turn gold into money. I imagined it'd take a lot of work to exchange all of this for cash.
At the end of a crude underground tunnel, in a VIP room so beautiful it seemed improper, was a pile of gold so large that there could be no doubting its 20 billion yen worth. Erika was calm, but Battler couldn't suppress his excitement. As for which of the two was the correct reaction to show after seeing a mountain of gold, only those who saw the scene with their own eyes could say for sure. In this day and age, it's said that an average salaryman earns about 200 million yen in wages over his life. And this is 20 billion yen worth of gold. With even 1/100th of this gold mountain, a single human could live their entire life without working. What is labor? Isn't it the very point of a human's life, since a person who doesn't work cannot eat? If so, then 200 million yen is enough to make a single person's life complete. And this is 20 billion yen. This would account for the labors of 100 humans, no, a single human life 100 times over. Of course, if you still wanted to work, you could. Any money you gained as a result could be used to play with. After all, you would already have enough money to live for your entire life. No, for eternity. No, wait, I mustn't keep it all to myself. I can split it up among 100 people. If I could create a world where a full 100 humans wouldn't have to work for their whole lives, just what kind of world would that be? Yeah, there's no doubt at all. This is the Golden Land.
There you go. Burn Butler magnificently discovered the gold. Congrats. I had to hide the more central parts of it, but what's wrong with being just a little mean, right?
Sure, do as much as you like. I'm not interested in the micro details about what kind of riddle it was or what kind of answer it had.
I am!
The important thing is that, as a result, 10 tons of gold were discovered. The gold was discovered in the third game as well, by Aunt Ava. Aunt Rosa also witnessed it. However, the two of them hadn't spoken of the gold's discovery to anyone. In other words, there was a chance that the gold's discovery was a catbox truth kept between the two of them. More specifically, it was possible that the gold didn't exist, and it was just an illusion.
I miss the cat talking about the cat boxes.
What? The cat talking about the cat boxes?
No, I miss the cat with all the talk of cat boxes. She can't come in?
No.
No.
However, I have finally found it. The cat box has been opened.
It'd be a waste of time to do that repeat it game, so I'll give you a little bonus. This mountain of gold is real. All of the ingots piled up here are real, pure gold. There are absolutely no tricks such as replicas or fakes.
Okay, got it. I'll accept that this gold exists. However, there are still some things I can't accept.
Of course. You met with him, didn't you? With Kinzo.
Even though Kinzo's supposedly an illusion, you met with him just a second ago, right? I guess that really was magic, wasn't it?
Ridiculous. I didn't exchange any words with Grandfather. I only felt as though Grandfather and I had exchanged words. Give it a rest. The same move won't work again.
In that case, your blue truth, if you please.
I was probably in an excited state after solving the epitaph's riddle. Then I mistook something for Grandfather. For example, maybe there was some kind of sheet or cover that had gotten caught in a dark grove of trees, which looked like Grandfather wearing a pitch-black cloak. As a result, I mistakenly thought that I had had some sort of conversation with Grandfather.
Why didn't he just say he saw, like, a ghost. That doesn't count as magic.
Counts as supernatural. He's doesn't believe in anything
So he's denying
supernatural.
all magic, supernatural. Okay.
He's going off of mystery, so everything's humans. That's me.
It is. I've got my mouth open.
Blue truth, valid. Well, I did say the exact same thing in blue. So, did it work? Where's your counter with the red truth?
I have none. At least now, okay?
That's the most annoying.
I can't do any of the giggles. The me who'd let out a strange yell in front of the Gold Mountain was finally starting to regain his cool. Now that we've found it, there's no covering it up. I vaguely considered keeping this discovery a secret. However, Erika wanted to prove that her own reasoning was correct by announcing this to everyone. She really is an intellectual rapist, just as she says. The puzzle-solving game is what's important to her, and she doesn't intend to take any responsibility for what happens after the riddle is solved. A riddle is sort of like a lock. Locks exist to be locked, and they're only significant when they're locked. Therefore, it ought to be essential to have some goal in mind when exposing such a thing. However, to this girl, the act of exposing itself is her final goal, and she has no intention of taking responsibility for anything that happens later.
Slaughter.
Maybe the true storm to hit Rikenjima isn't the typhoon, but her. She won't keep this discovery secret. She'll definitely announce it so she can brag about her success. Then she'll call a real storm down upon this island. I won't be able to keep this covered up. In that case, there's nothing to do but announce this fact fairly to all. I can't imagine what'll happen after that. As she grinned, Erika muttered to herself. She must have been anticipating the uproar that the relatives would soon bring about. To her, merely imagining that was far greater than 20 billion yen of gold.
Simply by the existence of the epitaph in that place, this level of reasoning is possible for Furuto Erika. What do you think, everyone?
How's that? For
I was like, it's gonna end soon. We're not gonna see the reactions.
not yet. Oh, so the gold's real. I mean, I'm pretty sure they used the red truth in like episode 3 about it, that it really exists on one of the episodes.
Well, it's not really been a huge concern that it wasn't real throughout the series.
Because you had Kraus who had one ingot and he showed Natsuhi in like one of the earlier episodes.
No, I remember that.
But the whole 20 billion yen worth.
So now we're gonna go into chaos.
The best part.